Certifications can open doors, but only you can walk through them. Welcome everyone. In this video, we are going to discuss an important reality that many professionals discover only after clearing major certifications like Certified Protection Professional, CPP, and Project Management Professional, PMP. Many people believe that once the exam is cleared, opportunities will automatically start flowing. But the truth is slightly different. Certifications are not the end of the journey. They are the beginning of a new phase where visibility, positioning, communication, and networking become equally important. This presentation is about understanding that bridge between achievement and actual career success. So let us begin. Months of preparation, late nights, balancing work, family, and studies. Anyone who prepares for CPP or PMP knows the effort involved. And naturally, after clearing the certification, there is an expectation. LinkedIn updated, certificates uploaded, resume refreshed, waiting for interview calls, but then reality hits. Days pass, weeks pass. Sometimes, nothing changes immediately, and that creates frustration. At this stage, many professionals begin questioning, if these certifications are so valuable, why am I not seeing results? The answer is important, because certifications create credibility, but not automatic opportunity. This is where most people wrongly assume the journey is over, while in reality, Phase 2 has just started. Corporate hiring does not work like a board exam or promotion list. No company says, you cleared CPP and PMP, so here is your job. What certifications actually create is visibility, credibility, access. They reduce doubt in the employer's mind. But hiring decisions still depend on many other factors: positioning, communication, networking, timing, execution. This means two people with the same certifications may experience completely different outcomes based on how they present themselves. That is why understanding the corporate ecosystem is just as important as passing the exam itself. This slide highlights one of the biggest transition challenges. What certifications tell employers is, you understand global frameworks. You have discipline and commitment. You can adapt to structured systems. But employers still ask deeper questions. Can you solve our business problems? Can you communicate effectively? Can you work within our environment? Can you create measurable value? And this is where many professionals struggle. They prepare extensively for the certification, but not for the transition. Remember, corporate hiring is not only about qualifications. It is also about confidence, clarity, adaptability, and relevance. This is perhaps the most important slide in the presentation. The certification is not the destination. It is the beginning of Phase 2, becoming professionally visible. This means understanding how the corporate ecosystem functions, learning how to communicate your experience in business language, building industry presence, creating professional credibility beyond your resume. A certification gives you entry into the conversation, but visibility and value determine whether the conversation moves forward. And this shift, from qualification to positioning, is where real transition begins. Many professionals believe jobs exist only on portals, but job portals represent only a small fraction of the market. A large number of opportunities move through referrals, networks, professional circles, industry visibility. This is what we call the hidden market. That is why networking is not optional. It is strategic. Engaging on LinkedIn, attending ASIS or PMI events, interacting with professionals, and contributing meaningfully to discussions all help increase visibility. Because in the corporate world, people often hire not only qualifications, but familiarity, trust, and professional presence. And learning to navigate this hidden ecosystem can make the difference between waiting endlessly and finding the right opportunity. At this stage, one of the biggest mistakes professionals make is continuing to only apply for jobs passively. The strategy now has to change. Stop just applying. Start engaging. Engagement happens at multiple levels. Digitally, build a professional LinkedIn presence. Share insights. Participate in discussions. Stay visible in your domain. Physically, attend ASIS and PMI events. Meet professionals face-to-face. Build authentic industry relationships. Intellectually, discuss security, risk, leadership, and project management topics intelligently. Show that you understand business environments, not just certifications. Relationally, connect directly with practitioners and decision-makers, because opportunities often move toward people who are visible, credible, and consistently engaged. Corporate transition is not only a qualification journey, it is also a visibility journey. This slide represents one of the most important transformations in the entire transition process. Initially, many professionals are perceived as a military person with certifications. But the real shift happens when people begin seeing you as a professional who understands business environments. That distinction changes everything, because corporate organizations are not hiring your past identity alone. They are hiring your ability to create value in their present ecosystem. This means your communication, behavior, resume, and interactions must gradually reflect business understanding, adaptability, strategic thinking, stakeholder awareness. The goal is not to erase your background. The goal is to translate it into relevance. And once that identity shift happens, conversations become easier, trust builds faster, and opportunities begin to open naturally. One of the biggest barriers in transition is the resume itself. Most resumes initially look like service records, ranks, postings, appointments, responsibilities, but corporate hiring managers are not looking for designations. They are looking for measurable outcomes, business relevance, leadership impact, problem-solving capability. That is why translation matters. For example, instead of writing managed operational teams, translate it into led cross-functional teams in high-pressure environments, ensuring operational continuity and risk mitigation. Same experience, different presentation. And that difference matters enormously. Remember, corporate transition is not about changing your capability. It is about translating your capability into a language the corporate ecosystem understands and values. This slide captures an important reality. Certifications alone do not create career traction. Real traction comes when certifications combine with experience, communication, positioning, consistency. CPP and PMP do not replace effort. They multiply the value of effort. And this is where many people lose patience. They expect instant results after certification. But corporate transition is rarely immediate. It is gradual. The people who eventually succeed are usually the ones who stay visible, stay engaged, keep improving, and remain consistent even when results are delayed. Because consistency builds momentum, and momentum eventually creates opportunity. This is one of the emotionally difficult phases of transition. Sometimes, the first corporate role may not fully match your expectations in designation, salary, authority, or environment. And naturally, that affects the ego. But here is the important mindset shift. Your first corporate role is not your final identity. It is your entry point. The objective at this stage is not instant perfection. The objective is momentum. Every role builds understanding, expands networks, increases visibility, and strengthens corporate adaptability. Those who focus only on immediate status often struggle longer. Those who focus on long-term positioning usually grow steadily and strongly over time. This slide reflects the reality of how careers evolve after transition. Opportunities rarely appear suddenly. They happen gradually. One connection leads to a discussion. One discussion leads to an interview. One interview leads to consulting work. One project creates visibility. And eventually, the right opportunity arrives. At the center of this entire cycle is one critical word: consistency. Not intensity for 1 week. Not motivation for 1 month. Consistency. Because in the professional world, trust builds gradually. Visibility builds gradually. Credibility builds gradually. And over time, these small steps compound into meaningful opportunities. That is why persistence matters more than impatience. The process may feel slow initially, but momentum is quietly building underneath. This slide brings together the entire journey we have discussed so far. Career transition after certifications is not about one big breakthrough moment. It is about convergence. First, certifications create credibility. Then, professional engagement creates visibility. And finally, consistency keeps you moving long enough for opportunity to meet both. This is where many professionals unknowingly fail, not because they lack capability, but because they stop too early. Remember, credibility alone is not enough. Visibility alone is not enough. Effort alone is not enough. The real breakthrough happens when your skills, your positioning, your network, your persistence all begin aligning together. And when that convergence happens, opportunities that once felt distant begin moving toward you naturally. At the beginning, many people see CPP and PMP simply as certifications. But over time, you realize they become much more than that. They become confidence builders, credibility enhancers, language translators, opportunity accelerators. They help transform your experience into something the corporate world can understand, trust, and value. But one final truth must be remembered carefully. Careers after transition are not built in one exam. They are built through continuous positioning, consistent effort, adaptability, patience, and persistence. The certification may start the journey, but your long-term professional identity is built through what you continue doing afterward. As we conclude, let us come back to the central idea of this presentation. CPP and PMP will not hand over success overnight, but they can shorten the distance between who you were and who the next world needs you to become. Certifications open the door. Visibility gets you noticed. Communication builds trust. And persistence keeps you moving until opportunity finally recognizes your value. To everyone preparing for transition, stay patient, stay consistent, keep learning, and most importantly, keep moving forward. Because growth in the corporate world is rarely instant, but it is very real for those who persist. Thank you for watching this presentation. If you found value in this discussion, do like, share, and subscribe for more content on professional growth, military to corporate transition, CPP, PMP, and leadership development.